Some say that no good comes from taking seriously the things that one sees in dreams. That dreams are only the brain's edit of the day, a kind of cleansing process where various minor details of experience are swept together to be sorted for the bin. But these fragments of memory offcuts are to be ignored, forgotten. I think that such processes of sorting and observation are as important in sleep as they are in waking life. Do we not trust our eyes above all else to tell us the truth of matters? Do we not rely upon the unchanging fact of what we can see and read to judge how we should act? And if this is true, then do not those visions brought to us in dreams, therefore, deserve some attention in our days? Since I know that you are of very good sense and intelligent mind, I know that you will agree. And this is not what I come to speak with you about. Rather, the particular dream that I shall now recount to you is proof of some other way of knowing the world. Another mode of perceiving, both in slumber and in waking, that assures us that we are of sound mind and sound judgment in this world. Let me tell you of this dream now. Its true meaning I will gladly explain to you in time. Part 1. The Sleeper.
Sleeper, sleeper. Oh.
I was sitting alone in the garden. It was a fine Sunday afternoon in the summer. I had been indoors, looking over old books. I have acquired many books, for my eyes delight in looking in their pictures, and the lessons they hold therein nurture my understanding. To let my sight linger and trace the fine, minute scenes is a great joy. Some hold painted miniatures, others grained photographs from which I could extrapolate in my mind's eye whole historical events. And still others held only words, those ambivalent signs which might at one glance communicate meaning, at the next be nothing but shapes of ink. Often I would let my eyes play, switching between meaning and shape, making the familiar strange, just for pleasure. Because of the book's great value to me, I kept them in a darkened study, a space that was once an old shopfront, for it is always cool and dry. Here the quality of the fine colours and papers of these precious objects would never be diminished. That afternoon, I decided to take pause from my study to enjoy the freshness of the day. For quite some hours already. The sun had been enjoying itself among the trees there, and the sight of the glowing leaves gave off a warm look. I lay on the grass in the shade of an elderly apple tree. After the busy scenes in my books and the vivid images their words called into my imagination, there was little in the garden of much interest to look at. This was as well, for my eyes had already seen beauty enough and needed some rest. Very soon, I was lulled into complete stillness and felt my eyes drawn closed by the glare of the strong daylight. What had seemed to me an entirely calm and peaceful place now came alive with activity. Trying to rest my senses, I could not let go of the presence of the noise. It seemed the more I withdrew my sense of sight, the more bared were my ears. The garden, usually pleasant but quite unremarkable, was transformed by an intensifying soundscape. The motion of insects among the buddleias, the linden flowers swinging apart and back together, an arrhythmic thumping of overripe fruit dropping to the grass. They all conspired to spin my relaxed body around in circles till I fell into a dream. Tracing these noises that suspended me, I strained to follow their sounds and found the garden had rapidly outgrown its borders to become a vast park. The scene that greeted my reduced but intensified senses was this. Broad lawns of the park were surrounded by tall oaks and alders. Purple beeches stood over a wide pond. The surface of it was populated by lily pads. Marveling at this place, which at this point I knew entirely and only through my sense of hearing, and not by sight, I was interrupted by a voice close by.
Hey!
Čo sa tu deje? Teraz rozprávaj na mňa. Halo, ja sa ťa niečo pýtam.
Unfamiliar and yet absolutely clear, it spoke to me.
I'm the sleeper.
I pondered this, and then the voice said,
I am the sleeper.
No, I am the sleeper.
No.
I spoke aloud, you there? I'm certain you are speaking to me. But I am a stranger in this park. I do not understand you. And the voice announced, I am the sleeper.
No,
This is the place I sound over.
you're just not the sleeper.
It's me. It's just me.
The sleeper, not yet visible to my drowsy eyes, had a sonorous tone. And this idea occurred to me that the sleeper was a bell. Without my saying so aloud, the sleeper replied, "Indeed, as you may think, I am a bell." Now, ask me not why a bell speaks in noises such as these. Remember, after all, this is a dream. It is not for me to account for the complex ecology of the sounds that the sleeper chose to converse in, such as when it said to me,
Nem szeret. No patrz, że lekcją spój. Nám se jsi nišel rád.
Asi si budu. Já ti úplně rozumím.
So I addressed the sleeper. Usually, sleeper, a bell has a purpose. It calls people together, gives them instructions, or it tells them some important news. Have you this kind of assignment? And the sleeper replied, "My call lulls all living things." But these things around me, animals and insects, these trees and flowers in this park, this place that you sound over, they are not also sleeping. How can you say, sleeper, that you lull them all? And the sleeper replied, "Why should all living things answer the same call?" It said to me, "Each body hears me differently." It said, for example, you have never realized my call until today. So busy you have been with your eyes. It takes quite some effort to force you to pay attention to the reality around you that is not only visible. At this, a low rumbling crept into the horizon of my consciousness. But the voice of the sleeper continued. You spend so much time looking, only looking, at your books. What do you make of the gentle sigh of the pages being parted each time you turn them from one to another? Or the protest of your long-serving chair? Do you hear it? The cries of your joints when you stretch out at the reading table? Anyway, that is not my domain. Rather, I wish to tell you of other delights. Listen here, for example. The rumble, so small and distant, at first drew no attention. Steadily, however, it continued to grow, louder and closer, like thunder, until the voice of the sleeper shrank away and nothing else remained. This puzzled my mind, as the day remained brightly in sun and my body felt none of the breeze that heralds a storm. Still, it felt till I could no longer entertain any other thought but I opened my heavy eyes and heard the passing vehicle fade away down the end of the main street. I was now awake, the sleeper having vanished, and the great park shrunk back again to the dimensions of the garden. And a special thanks to Annegreet for conducting today. Thank you. Is it the first time? Second time conducting the choir.
Round of applause. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Incredible.